With cruise lines these days obsessed with attracting first-time cruisers and especially more families, even lines traditionally focused on couples aged 50 plus, like Holland America, Princess Celebrity, are all now actively advertising and offering incentives to get more families to cruise with them, with more family onboard experiences, excursions and cabins. This got me wondering if there are tips and tricks that work just for adult cruisers cruising as a couple or solo these days. In doing so, I found both positive ones unique to adult cruisers, but some rather disappointing things that this shift is causing that threw up, though, some new tips that we all need to know about. Welcome aboard, I'm Gary Bembridge, and let me start with a rapidly increasing trend affecting adult cruisers negatively and what to do about it. More adult cruisers sailing as a couple are being kicked out of their cabin through not having enough people in it. With greater demand and ships sailing full and over capacity on routes popular with families, I've seen couples who booked a specific cabin having it taken away from them and being shunted off to another one not of their choice. Why is this happening? Well, their chosen cabin was able to hold 3 or 4 people due to sofa beds or pull-down beds in the ceiling or wall. So the line moved them to a cabin which can only take double occupancy and sold that original cabin to a family so they could share. This happened a fair bit in the recent Alaska and Christmas Caribbean cruising periods. My tip is, if you're an adult couple that likes to choose a specific cabin like I do, is pick a cabin that can only accommodate 2 people and does not have sofa or other types of beds. However, on the plus side, if you do want to travel with kids or perhaps your grandkids, bear in mind as an adult cruiser, you can also take them for free or virtually no added cost above your couple's fare. There are a couple of lines to focus on, though, if you want to take advantage of this. MSC Cruises frequently runs kids sail free promotions where up to 2 children under the age of 18 can sail free, paying only port fees, taxes and gratuity. That's if they're sharing the cabin with 2 full-paying adults. The same is true on their sister line Explorer Journeys. I'm seeing premium lines like Celebrity, Princess and Holland America also frequently running 3rd and 4th person in your cabin at massive discounts of 70% or free. And at the time of making this, Royal Caribbean were offering fares of just $99 each for 3rd and 4th people sharing a cabin. The second area that only applies to adults is you can cruise on adult-only lines on oceans and rivers and explore adult cruising with a very large twist, as you will hear. There's a slowly growing list of adult-only lines and ships where you have to be 18 or over to cruise on them. In the luxury category, there is Oceania, Viking, and the UK Saga line, which is actually for over 50s. In the premium category, there's Virgin Voyages and P&O Cruises UK. They have 2 adult-only ships, Aurora and Arcadia. In the more value category, there are 2 UK-based lines with Ambassador, adult-only, and Marella offering adult-only ships, Marella Explorer 2 year-round and Marella Discovery 2 seasonally. However, my unusual tip is you can also cruise on household name cruise lines, providing a very adult experience catering to your steamier side, if you're looking for that. There are a surprisingly large number of charters offering uninhibited adult fun. There are several swingers cruises and even a travel agent dedicated to selling swinger cruises, theswingercruise.com. There are 2 main companies that run swinger cruises. One is called Desire Cruises and the other is Bliss Cruise. They offer clothing optional areas, uninhibited experiences, and areas for open-minded adults to enjoy themselves, as it were. These are run on mainstream lines and ships that you will all know of. For example, Desire run them on Oceania cruises and Bliss run them on ships like Royal Caribbean Wonder of the Seas and Celebrity Silhouette. You can also go on a nudist cruise, which doesn't have that more kind of swinger side. Bare Essentials is the best known, running what they call the Big Nude Boat. They run these cruises on Norwegian cruise lines mostly. Then if you're gay and lesbian, they have a number of charters ranging from wild party and very raunchy charters from companies like AtlantisEvents.com, which was running a full ship charter, by the way, on Oceania Riviera on the cruise after the one that I was recently on. And of course, these go through to more sedate cultural LGBT charter companies. The other tip to bear in mind if you are an adult cruising without kids is you can still go on lines if they appeal to you, like the big resort ships with all the shows, the features and choice, but still have adult options within those. You can even go on Disney Cruise Line, probably, I guess, the most family line of all, as they have dedicated adult-only pool area called the Quiet Cove pool area. They have an adult cafe and other adult-only areas too. For example, on my Disney Magic cruise, there was an adult-only area with a cabaret lounge nightclub, a cocktail bar, and an Irish-style pub. It also had an adult-only restaurant, Paolo. They also had adult-only excursions in many of the ports. But on all the large resort lines, they have adult areas as well. When I was on Royal Caribbean Symphony of the Seas, for example, they had the solarium area for guests over 18 years old. When I was on Norwegian Viva, they had the Vibe Beach Club, which was only for adults. Even Princess Cruises has adult-only areas these days. When I was on Sun Princess, the Sanctuary Club deck, which is for their premium Sanctuary Suite and Mini Suite passengers. This was only for guests aged over 16. And then they also had a free-to-access adult pool deck on deck 17 in front of the large dome. But even on their older ships like Sky Princess I was on recently, they had the paid-for Sanctuary and then the free-access retreat pool, both of which were for adults only. Carnival Cruise Line has their Serenity adult-only area as well. And when I was on MSC Cruises Virtuosa, they had an adult-only pool deck area and a large adult-only lounge. Many also offer adult-only experiences on land on their private islands, resorts and beach clubs, as well as on the ships. Carnival's Celebration Key, their private resort on the Grand Bahama Island, has Calypso Lagoon, the destination's area for travelers aged 18 plus, with a pool, beach, sports court, bars, restaurants. They also have the extra cost space, which is called the Pearl Cove Beach Club, with its own beach, pool and dining options as well. Royal Caribbean's Perfect Day at Coco Cay has the adult-only Hideaway Beach with pool, bars, DJ and cabanas. Norwegian's Great Stirrup Key in the Bahamas has taken the Vibe Beach Club idea onto land with the adult-only Vibe Shore Club. Disney has Serenity Bay as their adults-only area on Castaway Key, and at Disney Lookout Key, they have the Lighthouse Point area for guests aged 18 and over. The other thing that adults can do is use the gym and spa without any restrictions. Most cruise lines limit the use of the gym to only over 16s, and then they also have to be supervised, although not many actually follow the rule, and you often find kids in the gym. But most have spa areas that are only open and accessible for adults. Another important thing to understand as an adult cruiser, and a very important tip, is that while in some countries recreational drugs are legal, they are not on any line or ship. For example, in the United States, cannabis and related products are legal in several states for medical and recreational use for adults, mostly over the age of 21 years old. But it's prohibited to bring cannabis or even CBD and related products like gummies or digestibles on board, even if the ship is leaving from a state where it is legal. And if you're caught, you could be refused embarkation and completely banned. And if it's actually then found on board during the cruise, you can be disembarked by the line. And of course, that will all be at your own expense. For example, this is something a Texas woman, Belinda Van Veldhazen, discovered when CBD gummies were found in her bags at Port Miami boarding Carnival Horizon. She was refused embarkation and banned for life by the line. You'll increasingly see more signage as you go to check in at the major cruise terminals and in various ports of call. And increasingly, you may spot sniffer dogs are being used these days at some embarkation ports. So even though it's legal as an adult on land, it is not legal on cruise ships. Next, as you're likely paying more for your cruises than you need to, I have some adult-only tips on how to stop that. But first, if you love cruising, you'll know that it's never just about the ship or the ports. It's about the journeys, the moments, the people you meet, and the memories that you carry home with you. That's why I really like something called the cruise maps. Friends of mine, naval architect Will, geographer Matt, and fellow YouTuber Emma of Emma Cruises, created them using AIS satellite tracking data to map the exact route of every cruise that you've taken. So if a port was missed, added, or a diversion happened, it's all there telling the real story of that trip. I've created maps from all my cruises since they've launched, and whether they're in my A4 cruise album or framed on the wall, they're a constant reminder of some very special journeys that I've done. And if you would like one of these too, you can get 10% off using the link thecruisemaps.com/TFT, and the discount is applied automatically, or use the code TFT in the basket. Now back to those money tips. Another advantage adults have is not only can we gamble, but my tip is to explore if you can get free or heavily discounted cruises through that gambling. On cruise lines, you need to be over 18 to gamble, and if you put your cruise card into the slot machines when playing, most lines will track your play and allocate points for every amount put through the machines. Based on those points, they then offer free cruises and heavily discounted cruises if you hit certain levels. Now, you actually don't have to gamble that much. A follower of the channel and friend of mine has received many cruise offers and is heading off on 2 back-to-back 7-night Caribbean cruises on Holland America at the time of making this, or from a gambling budget of just $500 on his last cruise. Now, the good news is some lines are becoming much more transparent on how to unlock these offers. For example, on my recent Princess cruises, they had signs at the casino which showed how many points that I'd have to accumulate playing the slot machines or playing the tables to unlock different levels of free or heavily discounted cruises. But if you talk to the casino host on your cruise, they will tell you more. I also have a blog post I developed with someone who travels multiple times a year using casino offer cruises on how this all works for you to review. Another thing which many adult cruisers miss is the added discounts either because of their age or their job. I have some key tips about this too. First, several lines offer senior rates for cruises. MSC Cruises gives you 10% on many sailings if you're over 65, but also Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, Carnival, and Norwegian offer discounts for seniors for different age groups. So when you're looking to book a cruise, check with your agent, or if you're booking online, you might find that when you get towards the end, they're going to ask your age to see if you qualify for any added savings. Also, some organizations, like in the US, the AARP, which used to be known as the American Association of Retired Persons, has discounts on cruises for their members. But my second tip is you don't have to wait until you reach a certain age to get discounts. Your job may actually unlock them. Probably the biggest discounts available are if you have a job related to travel in any way at all. If you work for an airline, hotel, airport, air traffic control, cargo carrier, ferry service, tourist board, tour operator, and so on, you probably qualify for what's known as interline fares. These are heavily discounted fares, sometimes up to 70% on selected cruises across pretty much every single cruise line. Now, there are specialized travel agencies that collect the deals and offer them to anyone that qualifies. For example, in the United States, there's agencies like interlinerates.com and KVI Travel. In the UK, a friend of mine runs a leading one here called Touchdown. The list of jobs that qualifies is surprisingly large. So if you have a job even slightly connected to travel, or someone in your family does, see if you can access Interline rates in your country by checking the Interline travel agency lists of jobs that they actually can sell those discounted cruises to. While many lines also offer discounts for past and present veterans, in some countries, if you remember one of the first responder services, or blue light services, as they're sometimes known, based on the siren lights on their vehicles, like medical, fire service, or police service, you can often tap into deep discounts as well. For example, in the UK, you can join and get a blue light card that unlocks various discounts. But if you are an adult looking to cruise in the most popular region of the world, the Caribbean, there's new tips you also need to know, as these have changed. Join me over in this video to find out what they are. See you over there.